What's up, y'all? We back here with another video. Today I want to cover something that I don't think I genuinely, like, I know I say this all the fucking time, but I seriously don't think that anyone has ever, like, covered this or made me think of this in the way I'm about to make it click for you. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone really, like, describe the way our brains work, right? So you saw the title, our brains are an algorithm. What do I mean by this? Your brain is not, we tend to think of our brains as like a compendium of knowledge. If you don't know what that means, it's just like basically like a large catalog or a lot of books or something, like a big list. We like to think that, okay, I will watch this video, I will learn it, and then my brain will permanently remember it, and I will never need to recover or go back to this lesson ever again. That is not how our brains work. Our brains are algorithms. Like, our brains are like 2-week chunks almost. The things that you like input, the things that you watch, the things that you read about, the things that you think about, those are all kind of inputs that then kind of get into this like 2-week almost catalog. You'll notice that like sometimes you know lessons, sometimes you know things on an intellectual level, but you like almost forget about them. You deprioritize them because other things are going on in your life, and so you just don't think about them. You just don't remember them. They're not in your awareness. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once. It can only be active and can only be processing so many things at once. And so even if you know knowledge, even if you know it on an intellectual level, oftentimes it's like way back in the catalog, like way back, like maybe a month ago or some shit. And so because of that, even though you actually know it, like in your long-term memory, whatever you want to call it, it's not actually like in your awareness. It's not actually in your head. Like, you're not actually thinking about it. And so it might as well be as if you don't have the knowledge at all. Your brain is like a 2-week window of whatever inputs, you know, slightly delayed, I'd say. Like, basically, if I watch something, let's say I watch, let's say we're in Fairyland, right? And I want to get a unicorn, right? If I watch a ton of videos on how to get unicorns, it'll probably take my brain like maybe 4 to 5 days, maybe a week, to start like actively, like all the time, generating thoughts about unicorns and how to get one. Oh, how do I tame them? What food should I give them, right? Your brain kind of has that delayed period. And then let's say I go harder for a week, trying to figure out how to get unicorns, how to tame them, what do they live, what grass do they need, how do I need to like walk them, like, you know what I mean, right? After that week, my brain will probably still be generating thoughts of unicorns for maybe like another week after I stop consuming that content, right? And then if I focus on something else, oh, how do I tame like a Pegasus? Then my brain is still going to have those unicorn thoughts for a little bit, but then it's going to be delayed by the same 4 to 5 days, maybe a week. But then I'm going to get thoughts of Pegasus, Pegasi, whatever you call it, right? Like, your brain is basically a delayed algorithm on the inputs that you feed it. And so you can only be aware of so many inputs at once. You can only be aware of so many ideas at once. Sometimes you have ideas in like the back of your awareness, but it's all the way back there. It already got shelved away like in the long-term memory. And so you aren't actively thinking about it, and so it might as well not exist to a certain degree. And so where I'm going with this is that you need to constantly keep yourself in the ecosystem of whatever you thought you want to be prevailing in your life. The issue with how we typically think about our brains and how we think about knowledge is that we think, oh, I just need to watch this once. I just need to learn this lesson once. And then I'll be good for the rest of my life. I don't need to come back to this. That is a complete lie, I'm telling you, man. Your brain can only be thinking and can only be active with so many ideas at once. And so if you want an idea, if you want a mindset, if you want a lifestyle to stick in your head, if you want it to actually cement into a habit and cement into a personality or whatever it may be for you, you have to constantly keep yourself in the ecosystem of those thoughts. Otherwise, you'll pretty much inevitably lose it. It happens with so many different things. Like, you have to keep yourself in the ecosystem of whatever thoughts or whatever mindsets, whatever attitudes that you want to be dominant in your mind and in your thoughts and in your life. You have to keep on consuming content because it's not about the lesson. It's not about the raw knowledge. It's not about the like objective lesson in it. It's about reminding your brain. It's about keeping it at the top of your mind. It's about keeping your thoughts generating those same things. You know, AI is pretty much based on the brain. They parallel each other like pretty much perfectly. Your brain is basically an AI of the inputs that you give it through the content, through the thoughts you have. Like, you have to keep your brain, if you want it to keep on generating thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions around whatever topic that you want it to be on, and you have to keep on consuming those inputs. You have to keep on consuming those inputs, because again, it does not matter if you actually know the lesson. Please, like, the raw knowledge, the objective knowledge does not matter. Your brain works in priority. It works in what's in front of it, or works on what inputs you feed it. You have to keep updating and keep yourself in the ecosystem of whatever lifestyle, attitude, thoughts, whatever you want to have. Because I'm telling you, your brain will just forget. Your brain has to prioritize something, and it's going to prioritize the most relevant thing that it sees. This is called recency bias. Like, for example, I don't know, like, people were mentioning it with, you know, like trades, for example, right? Let's use a simple example. I don't follow the NBA too much anymore, but I do know, like, a little bit just here and there. If you don't know, the NBA, National Basketball Association, it's the pro league for America. There was a trade between two teams. It was the Mavs and the Lakers. Basically, the Mavericks gave, like, one of the most generational talents on the fucking planet, Luka Doncic, for Anthony Davis and I forget who else. And arguably, they, like, cheated or something. Or they got, arguably there's some scandal because the Mavericks then got the number one draft. They then got the number one draft pick for the next thing. But that's besides the point, right? The point is that, like, the trade was absolutely terrible. Like, it made absolutely no sense. The Mavericks gave up literally one of the best players alive for trash. For Mr. Street Clothes himself, right? And some other person. Other people, like, there was another trade this offseason where I believe it's Jaylen Brown for Paul George or something. I forget exactly what it was. Jaylen Brown plays for the Celtics. Incredibly good player, finals MVP. And basically, people were saying that, oh, this trade is worse than the Luka trade. And then other people were saying, oh, actually, it's just because it's more recent. That's the only reason why we think it's worse. Because on paper, arguably, the Luka trade is a lot worse. But because this new trade is more recent in our heads, we, like, kind of almost decrease the level of importance of the past trade, of the Luka trade. And we say, oh no, this one is worse. Just because it's more recent in our head and because our brains just work like that. Like, think about it in a survival aspect. Do you want your brain to be processing and thinking about, should that happen 3 weeks ago? Or about potential threats or potential opportunities that may be in front of you today? Of course, the latter. That's how we survive. That's how we made it here. So, the point of this video, if you want to continue in whatever mindset, whatever attitude, if you want to keep a prevailing attitude or a prevailing mindset in your life, you have to continually consume content of it. Because again, like, please hear me out when I say this. It is not about the knowledge. It is not about whether you know it or not. It's really not about that. Because oftentimes you already know the lesson. Oftentimes you even know what the person's going to say. But it's not about learning the lesson. Your brain and life and knowledge and experience is not about learning the lesson and saying, oh, well, I never need to hear this again because I know the lesson objectively, blah, blah, blah. It's about keeping it in your, like, conscious awareness. It's about keeping it in your conscious awareness. And so that means that you have to continually consume content or consume inputs. It doesn't have to be like YouTube content. It can be books, it can be whatever it may be. But if you want to stay in that mindset, you have to continually either think about it, continually like consume content. Ideally, just like consume inputs, because that's the easiest way to change your brain. Your brain is AI. Just feed it inputs that relate to what you want to think about, and your brain will start thinking about it. It's actually that simple. So ideally, it's inputs, but you have to get this idea of, like, raw knowledge accumulation, of learning lessons about one and done, because that's not how our brain works. Our brains are like algorithms. They just keep on, like, giving us things that we're consuming. And so if we stop consuming something, that means we're consuming something else. And so naturally, you will lose sight of the original thing that you're thinking about and start focusing on trash. That's why we lose our way. That's why we lose our path sometimes. Because we start to think we don't need the content. We start to think, oh, I already know all this, so I don't need to think about this anymore. That's a complete lie. Because if you don't consume the content, you will think about other things, because that's how our brain works. So please, you have to start consuming the content like religiously. You have to start consuming, or start thinking about, or start living, or start being around whatever you want to be on your mind 24/7. Because if you aren't, then your brain will naturally go to the next novel thing, and you'll lose sight of this stuff. Because again, it's not about the raw knowledge. You can know all you want, all the objective knowledge like tucked away in your brain, but if it's not at the forefront of your attention and of your awareness, then it doesn't matter. It might as well not exist. So that's it for this video. I have a gym program down in the description below. I'll get you lean, jacked, and swole before you even know it. No weird shit, no weird advice, no weird workouts, no BS and needless complications. It's going to have everything that you need for success in the gym. So click that down in the below. So click that link down below if you're interested. That's it for this video. Yeah, please, like I'm telling you, like do not ever think you're better or that you've moved on from certain content, because that's just not how we work. Like I'm telling you, you have to continually consume this shit. So that's it for this one. But yeah, only way is up. You know what's up. I'll see y'all. Peace.